Life Audio.
Today on Talk About That, John tries to stop his head from shining and tells us the illustrious history of the Slurpee. Meanwhile, I go to a 20-year-old movie and share the story of the time Winnie the Pooh got sued for assault. Plus a conversation about side hustles, imposter syndrome, and why some of our favorite people doubt their abilities. Today's episode is not sponsored by Skim Milk. It's better for you, mostly because there's no way you'll finish drinking it. But first, a word from our actual sponsor.
Johnny, spring has sprung in Bantertown.
You had the allergies are
they're
in
bad.
full bloom.
Yeah.
You had a sneeze at lunch that was jarring. It was one of those where a cough goes with it, and you go, "Oh no, something's wrong," and I've jarred something loose.
It may have broke something loose. You're just happy a projectile didn't follow.
Yeah. It's
You used to call that catching a hitchhiker.
Oh yeah. It's something wrong. Something happened, but now I'm sure you'll be fine.
No, it's fine. I have been scratchy. It's been Scratchy Town ever since.
That should be the. Why aren't we calling our?
I don't know.
Not Bantertown.
But you know what? We have never.
Scratchy Town sounds like a dermatology
for kids, right? Come on, kids.
Come down to Scratchy Town.
We never have made T-shirts with Bantertown on it.
We did get an email from a listener. We love it when you email us, by the way. If you want to email us, John, how would they do that?
They would send an email to hello@talkaboutthatpodcast.com.
We love hearing from our listeners, but we got one. We get some that are confusing, and some of them make us second guess ourselves. This one just said T-shirt in the subject line and no body.
And
it didn't say no body. The email had no body.
T-shirt and bring no body.
By the way, I have no body, so I don't know exactly. Can you just send a do-rag? I don't know what they would want.
Don't send a T-shirt.
They make a T-shirt into it.
And you and I text each other. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you go, did we tell people to send?
We say so much stuff.
We tell people, hey, send us an email that says T-shirt and we'll give you
a
By the way, it had no address. It wasn't like, and send the T-shirt to this.
Yeah.
If you're that person, we don't know what to do.
We could email you back.
We have a feeling that you just meant to write more things. Like, this would be a cool idea for a T-shirt for the podcast, but then you just didn't, and you just sent it accidentally.
And
maybe?
listen, I want to say to that listener,
we've all been there.
I want to say this.
Yeah.
That we can't do this for everybody, but if you'll send us an address, Johnny W. will send you one of his T-shirts.
I will, just because this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened.
Was that okay for me to?
Yeah.
No, this is not even the top 20.
Yeah,
weirdest things that ever happened.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, but sure, and we need T-shirts for the pod, but it's just one of those things of like, did we tell that person to
just send T-shirt to hello at I don't know.
Send 40404.
Most of the listeners, I know there's a lot of new listeners, but most of the ones that have been with us a while are very familiar with Johnny's over-bloated, false promises of things.
That's true. I do that. I overpromise, I underdeliver. I thought you were just going to say I'm overbloated. I thought you were just going to end it. Johnny's overbloated.
In other news.
Moving on. T-shirt.
Hey, did you see my cool new gadget on my desk here?
Oh, what is this?
If you're watching on YouTube.
It's like is this going to be a new age thing? Are you in a cult?
This is called Timular.
It looks like one of those dice that's a 18-sided die that people use for Dungeons and Dragons.
Does
throw it on the ground and it lands, and then you go, I'm a level
something from Dungeons and Dragons.
Level 6 wizard, and you have to now become my prisoner or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Is that not what's going on?
No. So you see right here, it says talk about that.
Yeah.
So that's the project I want to work on right now, and I am just going to lay it where that side is up on my desk, and on my phone over here, it just started tracking
the timer.
The amount of time I spend on the podcast.
So it lets you not waste time, except for when you're messing with your 18-sided die.
Well, no, and then if I put it back on the stand, it'll stop tracking. So if I like all my books right now that I'm working on, or projects or articles or whatever, I've put them on one of the sides.
Okay.
Now the key is you can only do 8, Johnny.
Right. What if you have more than 8 things you want to spend your time on? 8 quadrants.
Like
do you have one on there that says family time, and you're like, hang on, Sadie, I want to hear about your problem, but let me just
track this.
Let me just track this so I get credit for being a good dad.
Now, what I wanted to put piano, because I want to spend a couple hours a week. I've been working on some jazz chords.
Just a couple hours a week.
Well, yeah, I'm not like a professional or anything.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's not enough time to get better.
Sure it is.
2 hours a week.
Okay. I don't know if it's a couple hours per se.
You don't need 2 hours.
You know how much? That'd be 2 hours more than I'm spending right now.
That's
when
true.
I go in and play,
Won't that preach?
Guys, some of y'all sitting back waiting for the right time. And the truth is, there is no right time. There's just now.
Why don't we need to get Time Miller to sponsor us. You just gave them a ringing endorsement and we get nothing for that.
Well, why don't you send somebody an email?
That just
at
says,
hello@timemuller.com.
It just says t-shirt and they go, we don't know what to do.
Podcast is what it'll say.
Yeah, that's fine. John, here's another product that you maybe should try to get a sponsorship for. You didn't want to talk about it, but I was like, people like it when we're vulnerable. John,
people like it when I'm vulnerable, apparently.
John,
what do you have to do?
I talk about things all the time. We just talked about how bloated I am. John told me the other day that because we have these hot lights down on us now for the video. By the way, join our YouTube channel, subscribe so you can get our YouTube videos, full videos of the show. But the lights, because John's got of us two, John is more likely to have a sheen on his.
It's a delicate way to put it.
On his head.
Yeah.
But you have a good head. We've talked about this. I think you look better without hair. You do. You're one of those guys that has a head that looks good without hair. And so, all that said, you told me that you go, hey, I found, have you noticed that my head's not shiny? I go, what are we doing? And you go, I found what is it called?
It's called
Matte Dome? What is it called?
Zero Shine 2.0.
Oh, I wonder what happened to 1.0.
I don't know.
Those people's heads
People have died.
burst into flames.
No, so this happened. What had happened was.
Yeah.
So behind me is floor-to-ceiling bookshelves.
Right.
Which
he's very intelligent. John's very, very sharp.
Would have been amazing to be the backdrop for the podcast, but somebody wanted a different shot.
No, we're fine.
And so, anyway, it's kind of in this shot. You just put it in this shot, didn't you?
Can we do a shot without you in it? Is that possible? Can you just back away until I say it's good?
Which I have to tell you, coming back to the head.
Yeah.
But
this whole conversation's coming to a head.
I had an interview for a book with a publisher, and like I'm the writer. I'm not like, I'm not important on the call or anything. But it was my first time using this as the backdrop. And so when you're talking to people who make books for a living,
they were looking, they were scanning, they were pausing and like being like, okay,
well, you would wonder,
is he a lunatic?
Yeah, you would think like, okay, surely they're not going to. But I was there a little early, and I knew some of the guys.
You should mix in a few weird books.
Just put in like a weird
anarchist cookbook.
How to
What's
kill
the one
publishers.
about how to make bombs or whatever? Anarchist cookbook.
And like I strategically placed, because it is sort of a reflection of who I am a little bit. So like there's a Thomas Merton there, C.S. Lewis, a Churchill, Russell Moore.
They're in quadrants.
They're in like different, and then this whole shelf is that's all my books.
Oh boy,
right there.
That's the self-important.
And this
shelf.
is like the most important like books of the last 5 years for me.
Yeah.
And then there's some history, and so literally they were like, okay, hold on. My buddy was like, he's an editor. He's like, okay, I see you got the Grant. Biography.
So he called it out. He wasn't just doing it. He was telling you, I'm judging
They were
you.
all going through. It wasn't judgment. I think it was just so. But
there's an assessment being made, though.
But when I looked at the Zoom call,
right,
it was like, this little light of mine. Mm-hmm. I needed to hide this head under a bushel. Oh yes, because there was quite the glare coming off.
But they didn't call you out on that.
Well, who's going to say such a thing? What sort of person would want to talk about another person's shiny head?
I don't know.
In a public setting. Could you imagine?
Shallow
a
people.
Monster. But and the only other time I'd noticed this, really.
Did you go looking for a product?
Well, yeah. What do you mean? Did it come looking for me? But
I'm saying, when you saw the video, you're like, I got to do something.
Yes. I was like, now
that was rock bottom for your head.
Because we have so many lights in here now, and I don't want to be changing the lights all the time. But I remember when I was on the Today Show Nashville.
I remember this.
For some reason, my head shined like the top of the Chrysler building in that interview.
Was that suit coat hoodie day, or was that Good Morning America?
No, this was local Nashville.
Okay.
Took my daughter on this one. It was fun. I took her to. Couldn't take my family to Good Morning America because it was pandemic still.
Yeah.
They were in New York with me, but we didn't go. Right. So, but yes, they didn't put any makeup on me or anything. Wow. But in New York,
well, that's good. That could be like, you're good.
In New York, it didn't shine.
Natural.
But in Nashville, it did shine. Yeah. Anywho, I did find it, and you're laughing at me because you think and it works. Like you just
no. I saw you put more on because I go, you got a little bit of it, and you put it on. I was like, whoa!
It's gone.
Yeah.
So, and it's made, I looked up by a guy, this is what he's been developing for this problem. And you were like,
I said, it's basically makeup probably, right? And I go, what color is it? You go, brown. I go, that's makeup.
But it's not.
But it doesn't go on brown.
It's not covering.
Right.
It's absorbing. So here's the ingredients are.
Yeah, please tell me.
Number one ingredient. You'll never guess it.
Water?
This is why you. This is how you know it's not makeup.
Okay.
Organic brown rice.
Yeah.
Because rice.
It's nourishing.
You know, when you drop your phone into the water, you're supposed to put it into a bowl of rice.
It absorbs any
whatever.
moisture, any oils in your skin, probably.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Then vitamin E.
By the way, they say not to do that anymore. People say not to drop your phone in
I do
rice.
it.
It's bad.
I'll do it just to reset the phone. Just drop it in water, drop it in rice.
Okay.
Vitamin E oil, sandalwood oil,
That's what does it right there.
tea tree oil.
Okay.
And then I said this the other day, my wife made fun of me. It's not jojoba.
Oh.
It's jojoba, apparently.
Jojoba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yes, demineralized water. So, Zero Shine 2.0, you could be a sponsor if you want, but...
Wow, we've got 2 products so far just out of the gate.
Well, since I got the new office, I'm going to actually start doing work with all this eventually.
Right.
Because
now it's just like fun new toys.
Like, did you see this?
I think you just like buying stuff.
I mean, look at that. Here's all my projects.
Oh,
There's
Lord.
one for the current and what's today, and then one of the handwritten.
To-do lists. I wake up and I immediately know what I have to do. I don't need lists to tell me, and then I don't do them. But I'm saying
Right.
but I know what I'm.
You know what
shirking.
you were supposed to
I'm
do.
shirking responsibilities.
I'm the kind of guy that if it makes it to a list, it will eventually get done. It might be 6 months, but I won't get rid of that list until that thing's done. So
a real shirker. That's what I am. I don't know, John. Let's take a minute and hear from a few of our fine sponsors.
Man, I really hope that the algorithm picked up something. Does your head shine like a...
Oh, wouldn't it be great?
Oh, my gosh.
That would
I'll
be
have to
something.
listen and see. Guys, I hope you heard it. Would be amazing. We really need someone who'll start reaching out to these people now for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sorry,
You got- You
I
have...
just did it was like a...
It got a little...
No, it was like a Napoleon Dynamite sigh.
Yeah, it was, wasn't
Which,
it?
oddly enough, last night we went.
Oh, that's right.
We went to the Fisher Center, which is like a beautiful music
Where you
venue
go to go
downtown.
fishing. Yeah.
It's where you go to go fishing. And I know it's a huge music building on and performance hall on Belmont campus in Nashville, and they were doing a showing last night, the 20th anniversary of Napoleon Dynamite.
Wow.
With a special guest Q&A with the stars of the movie. Wow. 3 of the stars of the movie. The guy that played Uncle Rico, the guy that played Pedro, and the guy that played Napoleon were all there.
Wow.
So we went, and I took some friends. And I know the guy who runs the building, Chaz Corzine.
Oh,
And he was like a super agent in the 90s and early aughts.
okay.
And so now he runs this building. And he's become a friend. And so I reached out to be like, hey, I'm thinking of getting tickets to this. Can we get a little upgrade? And he was like, how many do you want? And so he gave me like a bunch of tickets.
Come
so
on.
I invited some friends, not you, but I invited
Appreciate
some
that.
friends.
Yeah.
And we went. And no, but it was actually so fun. And it was cool. Like we talk about movies but a couple of times the last couple episodes, but experiencing a movie like that's a nostalgia for
Right.
you with a crowd again,
Yeah.
like that was so fun.
Yeah.
Like the laughs were so big.
Even though they know it's coming.
Yeah, it was such a really cool communal experience. And then they were really charming. And the thing I loved about it was I almost half expected them to be like, we know we did this thing. We made almost no money from it when we made it.
Uh-huh.
And now we have to like keep doing like
Right.
Q&As
Galaxy
about
Quest,
it.
right. Yeah,
We
it's
have to
gotta-
keep doing it. Yeah,
right.
you expect Galaxy Quest where they're just
Yeah.
like rolling their eyes and be like, we've heard this question before, but yes, Uncle
Right.
Rico is... They were so excited.
Wow.
They go, we're such fans of this movie and we still love it.
Oh,
And
that's
we're
great.
excited that it's part of our identity. And this is why we do that. And I thought that was so cool and refreshing. And it made the whole event feel a little bit, it crackled a little more because of that, which I enjoyed. So,
How many dates are they doing? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. But if you get a chance to go see it and see them, it was really fun. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
What movies? I mean, I'm trying to think of what I would like. Like,
What would you
I
go to if you could meet
love-
the stars of...
Oh,
yeah.
Dumb and Dumber all day.
Oh, yeah, sure. Jim
mean-
Carrey's become like a little more like a philosopher kind of a
Well,
guy.
yeah,
He's
'cause-
very introspective and he's struggled with mental illness. He's been very public about that. So I think his perspective on Hollywood in general now is probably a little bit different. But I've seen interviews where he talks about roles that he got, and he seems very humble and appreciative of his success. And has an interesting perspective on Hollywood in general. I think he got everything he ever wanted and realized, hey, this is not enough. And so he says that more than one interview I've seen him say, I wish everybody could get what they want for 15 minutes so they realize it's not enough. So he's very...
God, I've lost the other actor's name.
Jeff Daniels.
I'm going to say Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Daniels got $50,000 for that movie.
Well, what's crazy, he was already a pretty decent-sized star at the time.
But his agent was telling him not to do it. And then he was just like, I wanted to see if I can do comedy with the biggest comedian star in the world right now. I want to see if I can hold court with him. I want to see if I can. And so it was a challenge to himself. And he said, I'm still glad that I did it. But yeah, he got paid like, 1/100th of what Jim Carrey got. Or
well, I mean, talk about a serious actor, man. I mean, there was that Aaron Sorkin show that came on after West Wing.
Yeah.
Newsroom, I think.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking of.
And just his opening, the opening scene of that whole show, which is where he is he's basically on a guest panel in a college. They're talking about why America is the greatest country in the world. And I mean, it gets a little profanity laden, but what he talks about and what he says there is so like mic drop, but it's so engaging. Yeah.
No, he's a serious actor and it was great. But yeah, it's cool to see. I think people just sometimes want to challenge themselves, and he wanted to see like, I want to paint with another color right now.
Yeah.
And, but it meant taking a lot less money, and he knew that, and he still decided to do it. And I think it's odd that we live in a culture now where we know those things. I don't think 40 years ago we would have known that. We would have just been like I don't know what Richard Dreyfuss made for Jaws.
Right.
But we know now, like, oh, this guy got paid 1/10 of what his... the female castmate got this much, and the male castmate got this much, and let's be upset about it. Or this movie made this much. Now we can decide if it's a failure or not. We used to just be like, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Now we're like, The Goonies actually didn't open well. It's like... Who cares? Was The Goonies good? Did you like Back to the Future? Well, it was a big hit. Was it good?
Yeah.
Now we kind of have to we talked about that at lunch about how like the side hustle culture, which I give a little bit of, we give flack to this generation for being like, you can't just have a hobby now. It has to be monetized or you're not.
Right.
You're being pressured to monetize your hobby. But part of that is because the economy's crumbling and people feel like they have to have a monetized hobby.
Sure.
So I give him a little bit of flack, but I also understand. But it is odd, like, you can't just go play now. You got to be like, well, are you taking this serious?
Yeah.
Like, if Sadie wanted to just play volleyball, you'd be cool with it.
Right.
But because she has talent and because it could help pay for her college, there's a little bit of pressure to be like,
it's a lot
well, do we
pressure.
want to take it serious?
Yeah.
Do we want to do this? And so she has to feel that pressure. But again, if she decided to quit volleyball tomorrow, you wouldn't be upset. You'd be like, well, this was a fun little thing that we did as a family, and now we're going to... Or would you be like, I spent thousands!
Well, we're 9 years in now.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow, that is a lot.
And I spoke with one of our mutual friends the other day about this. He's a coach, and he's a state championship player when he was in high school and everything. And he played in college, and he's like, the process now for recruiting, to your point, like you can't get there without help generally, unless you're like one of these 5-star, like, guys can jump out of a gym just when they were born kind of thing.
Like me, I guess.
Right, like Jonnie. Unless you're like Jonnie. But like the amount of pressure, the number of emails, the recruiting world it's a major industry. It's not just, and same thing with any of that's obviously athletics, but I think the arts is the same way. When anything becomes an industry, and when you talked about that, you were like, when you first wrote Reggie, the first book, like you were just excited.
Yeah. You're just trying to be a real writer. And you're like, this is fun. I'm in the sandbox.
Yeah, I've written a bunch of stuff, and now I get to write for a real publisher, and that's fun, Actually, I wrote that book before it was published by anybody, and so the idea that it got to go somewhere was like, oh my gosh, I'm riding the ride, kind of thing. I think I still feel, I don't think that's ever gone away. I think I can say this with genuinely, I can say I'm a little surprised every time I get to write professionally.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest thrill is when I get asked to do an event. When I get like sometimes you get a booking request from me. If I get a booking request from like an event, they go, "This is our fundraiser," and you can read the request and go, "They've reached out to 10 other comedians.
Yeah.
We better get in touch quick." But sometimes they'll be like, "We are big fans of Jonnie. We would be so honored if he'd be part of this event."
Yeah.
When you get those, you go, "Oh wow." To me, that is as big a thrill as the check or
Yeah.
doing the show. Like just being like included.
Yeah.
That somebody sat and thought, what if we could get Jonnie to do our event?
And I think
That's pretty cool.
when you get one of those, you should take the thrill of the event and give me I'll take the thrill of the check. Just send it my way. Since
Let
it
me
means
say-
so little to you.
It does. I mean, when you have enough money, come on, when you have as much money as I do, John, the money's not why you do it anymore. No, but I do say, like, there's something about, like, feeling, like, included in a group. Like Seinfeld used to say, when I used to be on a kid and watch TV, and I'd watch these comedians on talk shows, I'd be like, I want to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
And that was really my only goal. It wasn't, I'm going to be a billionaire. I want to be one of those guys. And so I really think about that all the time, that I've been since 2012, I've been a full-time comedian, make my full-time living from comedy. I'm one of those guys, for better or for worse. I'm not the best, I'm not the worst, but it's like, I'm one of those guys, and that's pretty cool. And so you try to remember that stuff when things are slow or things are bad, that it's just an honor to be like, we talked about imposter syndrome a little bit at lunch. Like, if somebody has imposter syndrome and it's very crippling for them as a leader, that's one thing. I don't know if I want my pastor to have imposter syndrome. But like, I want you to feel secure in your.
I have it.
You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
But I mean, I don't know if I want everybody in my life to have imposter syndrome, because I think for artists, I don't know that I trust a ton of people that live and express themselves in a super confident way. I think I like people to have a little self-doubt and then go out and conquer that self-doubt and make good things.
Yeah.
And then come back and be like, was that even okay? I'm like, I get this person.
Yeah.
If somebody just like, well, of course it worked out. It always does. Like, if you're the prom king, I don't think you really belong in the arts.
No, I
If
agree.
everything's gone great for you, I am a little annoyed when I'm around you.
Well, there's a guy, oddly enough, we probably have said this before, but I don't really have a problem with him. But I think he played college football.
Yeah.
When he goes and researches a book, he if he's gonna write about being on the Mississippi, then he takes 3 months and gets on a boat and goes down the Mississippi, and everything he writes is just gold.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's really, really good Christian writer. Mm-hmm. He was doing mostly fiction for a while. My wife loved it. So here's we got this, and I was really like, oh yeah, well finally this college football player, something went right for him, you know.
Yeah.
And then he's a great guy.
Is he handsome, Tim?
Yes.
Oh,
and then he turned around and decided to write a couple nonfictions. So he came over into someone else's world.
Yeah.
And of course knocked it out of the park immediately. And now it's like Andrew's favorite author kind of thing. And he did a whole thing. So I won't say his name.
Okay.
But I always have that joke with Andrew. He'll say, like, man, I hate that guy. You know, like, and the truth is, it is such a. He's probably the greatest guy.
Well, and we don't know that person's not dealing with self-doubt too.
Sure.
Sometimes people just push through. And
it's mostly a joke.
Yeah.
It's mostly a joke when I say it.
But I think it's odd. Like, some people are just confident, and like, there are people who may think that I'm confident. Because I'm on stage, I present myself in a confident way.
Yeah.
Because you have to. It's the rule. Like, comedy is confidence. If you get up and you go, I think this is funny, they're not going to think it. You have to tell them it's funny.
Yeah, this is why
That's what Bill Hicks used to say. Comedian Bill Hicks, he would say, don't ask if it's funny, tell them it's funny. There is something about that. You have to put on confidence. But, yeah, I mean, there's been shows I do where I'm backstage going like, I don't have anything for these people. You're thinking like, what are my jokes? You're literally going, I've written hours of material. What are my jokes? I've thought that before. And, but then you go do it and then you kind of overcome it. But so there's a confidence that's within, but I just don't necessarily want to hang around with people who just assume that life is going to go their way. I think I'll enjoy people that have been kicked in the teeth a little bit and are still creating things.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I don't.
That's just my personal preference. That's not to say confidence is wrong, but I think it's just, I think success is a very poor teacher. Let me say that. I think most things I've learned from failure. And so like success can make you feel like invulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, and you just go like, I got this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't ever want to feel invincible.
Invincible, not invulnerable. It makes you feel invincible. So you just like, I got this. Like, this went well, so this will go well. And every now and again, you kind of get knocked down a peg if you do the arts, and you're like, oh, right. Like, it can go really bad. And
Yeah.
I think you need that. And when I'm around people who've had things go badly enough, there's a humility that's like laced into their personality.
I can see why we're friends because you've seen me fail.
But I already told you I don't want I don't want a pastor that has no. So if you're John, I got to tell you, I may be.
I'm shopping for a new little church shopping.
I'm shopping, y'all.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Let's hear from a few more. No, I'm just kidding. A few more
It's about that time, Johnny. You're gonna like
it?
you're gonna like the quote today because it's actually about this.
Oh,
and we
good.
didn't know that. It was already picked.
Man.
Get ready. All right, it's my segment. It's the quote of the week, Johnny. It's called "They Talked About That." I think it's not bad today.
Yeah.
Harold Ross, born late 1800s, died like 1951.
Okay.
Co-founder, he's a journalist, co-founder of The New Yorker.
Oh, right. Okay.
Said this: "If you can't be funny, be interesting.
All right.
If you can't be funny, be interesting."
I've never heard that quote.
It's a very interesting idea to me that, like, we've built a whole podcast on that. One guy can be funny, and I'm just trying to be a little interesting.
Oh, stop it, John.
No, I mean, I think that, like, one, and this is, you'd speak to this way more than me, but I've had this talk with kids before.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you find yourself trying to be funny,
Yeah.
it's probably not working out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you're really like hoping so much, because it's
Martin Short talked about that on a clip where he said, like, if you play a scene and you go into it thinking like, let's get the laugh, that's usually a huge mistake. Play the character totally serious.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that. In other words, if you play the character kind of winking that I know I'm ridiculous,
right?
None of Martin Short's characters work.
No.
They only work because he is seriously
ridiculous.
He thinks he's for real.
Yeah. And
he's doing a ridiculous thing. That's why it works, because he doesn't understand the insanity of it.
I remember the first time I met, so I've helped write a few books for Jeff and Beth McCord and the Enneagram, your Enneagram coaches. YourEnneagramCoach.com, which is amazing stuff. Good friend. And I remember the first time I got on, they had a huge team at the time.
Yeah.
And I got on a call with them, and oddly enough, if you're in the Enneagram universe, my 7 part, which is PJ, right? It's my
You named your 7 part?
That's a thing, yeah.
Okay, sure.
So like my PJ is this, you knew PJ.
Is PJ in the room with us now?
PJ,
Can I speak to PJ real quick?
It's all me.
What's up, y'all? You got a backwards hat.
That was me. Like,
what's up, kids?
It's youth pastor.
Frosted tips.
You remember the days. Like, I could turn into PJ. PJ was fun. He's the fun guy. And your 7 part's fun.
Yeah.
And so, like, PJ will come every once in a while with the staff who weren't here for those years. And they're like, whoa, who is that guy kind of thing. You're like, you understand, I lived that guy for a long, long time. And I kind of miss him sometimes. Anyway. But
PJ's dead.
But wanting to impress everybody a little bit, dude. I went and just like zany. I wrote a bunch of stuff into the thread, like, what are you doing? It was just, it was like I was straight like avid endorsement stupidity stuff, and I was like, immediately I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
It was funny as Jeff and I've talked about it. He's done some of the same things. He's a 6 as well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a 6 thing sometimes. You come in like, I'm just going to win this room over. And we also have a 3.
We want to hold court a little bit.
We have a 3 part that does that too. But so like at this point, you've always said, at this point, you're just looking for someone who's kind, right? Yeah. You're looking for someone who.
Yeah, I used to be impressed by clever people. Now I'm impressed by kind people. I can't remember who said that quote, but yeah.
Well, now it's you.
Now,
you can't remember.
Yeah.
No,
that's
you.
my quote. Yeah. That's a Johnny.
It's like Johnny always says.
It's like I always used to say when I would quote that person.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. And to the point about the quote, if you can't be funny, be interesting. I've been told that before by people who were on shows. Like when you book a showcase, okay, so if you know the comedy world, there's like the normal format for a comedy show would be like one guy does 10 minutes, one guy does 15 or 20 minutes, and then one guy does an hour. That's a comedy club show.
Yeah.
But if
a feature, an opener, and
a host or an opener, and then you have a feature that's the middle, and then you have the headliner. So, but when you do sometimes I do a lot of shows that are called showcases where everybody's doing like a 8 to 10 minute set or 5 to 7 minute set. You just have to go do basically a Tonight Show set. You're going out, you're doing like the hits, you're doing like hard hitting stuff. Everybody's doing killer stuff. There's no like build. It's like come out swinging. And I've been on shows with comics who were not the funniest, but they were the one that everybody was talking about on the way home.
Yeah.
And I've had comics tell me, like, I learned in my career, that have been doing it for years, they would say, I learned in my career, if it's great to be funny, but it's better to be memorable.
Interesting.
Like, you want to be the one that they Google on the way home.
Yeah.
Like, that one guy had better jokes. He was sharper. But that one guy, that character, that was so funny, or he had that one moment that grabbed the show, that stole the show. And I think I have some comedian friends who are so memorable.
Yeah.
And they're hard to follow because of that. Even though I feel like I may be a stronger comedian sometimes, or I may have a better night than them, joke-wise, but they are indelible in your brain.
Right.
The way they
unique on
connect
on a memorable level. No, and I always, to me over the years, once I told you I listened to those early tapes of myself speaking and all, and I think what bothers me the most is I was a pretty good speaker. It bothers me.
Yeah.
Because at this stage of life, I really want to have something to say. Right? That's the most important thing to me, is that I have what's important to say.
Well, when you start as a youth pastor, you're just trying to show that you're just as smart as the grown-ups in the room, right? You're trying to still, like, prove it. So you got a little bit of a, I'm a theologian. I can do this.
Yeah, I was saying things like that because my experiences had taught me so much, and you're like...
Well, it's like the newlywed couple that writes a marriage book or whatever. They've been married 6 months. They're like, I think it's time for us to launch a marriage seminar.
Yeah, this is going great, I mean, it is. I mean,
How to fight the right way.
I'm one of those guys who probably has felt like when he was an expert early on, and then I've slowly realized how nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah.
And what it is, and again, there's sort of a premise to Ross's quote that is like, okay, well, why do you got to be funny or interesting in terms of like, why do we have to stand out at all? Why can't I just be in this room and be okay with it?
Yeah, the subtext of it is interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you need to be either?
Right. So I mean, there's something to be said. I'm sure that I didn't read the full. I don't know where this was coming in the middle of, but I think it's just good to know, like, okay, I don't have to be anybody but myself, and that should be interesting. And if people, I do believe this, it sounds a little cliche, but that if people don't find you interesting, then they're not your people.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, you and I pray that for my daughter and all, like, as she continues to go, like, hey, find your people. Dude, I mean, again, not to be cheesy.
Oh, boy.
But I mean, I have a best friend of 28 years, and
let's bring him in.
Come on, guys. And it's rare. It's so rare. And of all the like scarcity things in my life that I'll be like upset about, usually, especially when I'm praying, I'll have this like, I have like that once in a lifetime best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that saying? The biggest miracle Jesus ever accomplished was having 12 guy friends in his 30s, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a big deal. So, I mean, at some point, what I like about real friends is and I think what makes the podcast, if people seem to enjoy it, is like, I'm really not trying to impress you, or like the idea of me making you laugh, that was...
Look, John.
Like, that's not like, why would I occasionally do, but usually you laugh because of something legitimately that was me, not me trying, to your point. Yeah, so.
Well, and to the point about being interesting, I think if you want to go real deep, somebody told me that, like, if you want to be interesting, be interested. Like, people will remember if you listen to them.
Yeah.
They'll remember you as being somebody they want to hang out with because you actually listen to their story, which, again, that kind of backs up the whole idea of, like, us being narcissists, and we only care about the sound of our own voice. So we like being around people that seemed like they were engaged.
I don't think it's narcissism. I think it's connection.
There is something about, like, being interested in somebody else's story and not just waiting for your turn to talk that makes you more attractive to be around and more memorable as a person.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's work on that, John.
I'm trying, guys.
John, let's do my segments. Let's start with Johnny's old jokes. We call it Joke About That. Got two this week, John, and these are from a category of jokes I call A Guy Goes to the Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. It's a very broad. There's a lot of street jokes.
You call it that?
The doctor. Well, it's just like one of those, like, a man walks into a bar is a kind of joke.
Right.
Like, how many this does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Right. Guy starts a podcast.
Guy starts a podcast. Then you have like these are doctor jokes.
Okay.
Doctor says to a patient, "I'm sorry, but you only have 10 to live." Patient says, "10 what?" Doctor says 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay. A woman walks into a doctor's office. That was dark. A woman walks into a doctor's office complaining of bowel issues. John, this one may be a little more.
Okay.
The doctor takes her into his office. He asks what the issue is. "Well, I'm quite gassy all of the time. But my farts are always silent and never smell. In fact, I've farted about 15 times just in your office, and you haven't even noticed." The doctor thinks for a moment, then prescribes her some pills. "Take these for a week. Everything should be fine. If you have any more issues, please come back." A week later, the lady returns. The doctor asks how her treatment is going. She replies, "I'm not sure what you've given me, Doc. My farts are still silent, but they smell horrific now." The doctor looks at her and says, "Well, now that your sinuses have cleared up, we can work on your hearing."
See, guys. Okay.
I like that a woman was the foil in that joke, that she was the gassy person. Because it's like, it's going to be a guy like me in every other joke. But somehow they wrote this like, what, let's make the woman. A woman would go to the doctor and be like, "I have farted 15 times in your office."
Again, we don't do a lot of flatulence humor here, but I will say we have a mutual friend. Yeah. I will tell you off the air who it was.
Yeah.
But Sunday, he was ribbing his wife in front of several people. Like, they've been married like over a decade now.
Okay.
He was like, "I've never heard her pass gas."
Really?
Like, I think she dismisses herself to go out of the room or whatever, kind of thing. Yeah. And she was like, "There are people everywhere. Why are we talking about this?" It was so, and the more I'm a lady. The more uncomfortable it made her, the more that he just leaned into it.
Oh, that's great.
I'll let you guess who it was later. But
okay. I can't wait.
Yeah, but it was, It's okay to add females into that. Guys, it's a normal...
Women, come on.
Be human. It's okay to be human.
It's okay to...
Hey, we accept that here on this podcast.
We pass gas around here.
Yeah. Well, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
We're in an enclosed space.
John, let's do This Week in History. We call it Talk About Then. John, this week, 1996, Oprah Winfrey does a segment on her television show about mad cow disease in which she states, "It has just stopped me cold from eating another burger." She was then sued by a Texas cattleman, claiming the show made false and disparaging remarks about beef. This was when the mad cow thing was just, kind of a really scary time. And the plaintiff noted that cattle futures dropped 10% the day after this is the power of Oprah back in the day, 10% after the episode, and that beef prices fell from 62 cents to 55 cents per pound. That's when it's been a while, that beef was 62 cents a pound.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. It was the 90s.
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days. We didn't know how good we had it. Oprah was sued. You don't know what the price of beef is. Quit acting like you know.
No, I have
Rich
no idea.
guys you are. You're like, I don't even know. I get the help goes and gets it, and that's what we do.
Okay. Get the help.
Oprah was sued under a Texas food libel law known as False Disparagement of Perishable Food Products Act of 1995. So the act had only been around 1 year, which allowed the suing of people who make disparaging remarks about food products. Oprah eventually won the lawsuit.
Okay.
So I guess that's kind of a little subplot that we don't remember, but I remember them suing her.
Well, it's
it was
freedom
like,
of speech.
Get her or whatever, but she won.
Isn't it freedom of speech?
Maybe.
I mean, you didn't
but
say...
it is odd. We're in a time now where market manipulation is kind of like just a thing that we just go, well, I guess it just happens, but it is, if you have a lot of power, you can shout fire in a theater and affect the market. And it is odd.
I bet that the reason, if he was in Texas and she's shooting in New York or whatever, I bet that was interesting for them to prove actual injury to him.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? As opposed to the industry. Like,
I'm
sorry. That was just my take on it.
John, this week, 1994, the first woman was inducted into the National Comedy Hall of Fame. Would you like to guess who it was? So
what year?
Let's just say Nashville plays a role.
What year?
1994, the first woman inducted into the National Comedy Hall of Fame.
Hold on. Oh, I can't think of her first name. Minnie Pearl.
Minnie Pearl, you
Boom,
got it.
I got it. Okay.
She was known for her trademark howdy.
Yeah.
And a price tag of, do you want to know the price tag? Remember the price
on the
tag?
hat?
Yeah.
35 cents.
$1.98.
Oh, okay.
It's a nice hat. Inducted into the National Comedy Hall of Fame. She had been inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame back in 1975. So that's great. Minnie Pearl. I did not know that. We've talked about the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, New York, which I've been to a couple of times, and I highly recommend our listeners and viewers go to the National Comedy Center. It is a nonprofit comedy museum. It's basically a comedy hall of fame, and it is a terrific museum. It's in Jamestown, New York, which is the home of Lucille Ball, another great female comedian. John, the world record for standing on one foot was set this week in 1982. Do you want to guess how long somebody stood on one foot? You're going to go way high. That's going to make it.
You think it's going to be? I don't know.
34 hours. John. It was set by N. Ravi. It didn't have his full name. It just says N. The letter N.
It's like flamingo level.
Yeah, he was from India, and the source was the Guinness Book of World Records. So I guess maybe that. I don't know if that's somebody's broken that. I think they would care to try to challenge Mr. Ravi. 34 hours. Take a day and a half.
Unassisted.
I guess that's the rule.
Wow.
I don't have the
I don't
whole
think I could
story.
stand on 2 feet for that long.
Yeah, that's a long time to just stand.
Yeah. Wow.
34 hours.
Did you watch the? It's not a filibuster; it was a protest.
Oh yeah.
Senator Booker broke the record that was Strom Thurmond's, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it was like 30. It was close to that. 34 hours or so that he spoke in the Senate. Yeah. So he can't sit down and stuff. So
that's wild.
In West Wing, a guy does that. It's a filibuster, but there is a rule they find. They're trying to help the guy keep going because he's an older guy speaking because his grandson has, I think, autism or something, and he's speaking out, trying to help his grandson by delaying this bill. And so they all figure that out by the end, and they figure out that he can yield time to other people.
Oh, and so they
that's how they keep it going.
They tag in. Yeah. That's interesting.
Until they recess. Sorry, go ahead.
John, speaking of important causes, this week, 1980, Winnie the Pooh went on trial.
Okay.
A Disneyland character actor appeared in court wearing a Winnie the Pooh costume. A family claimed that the actor had purposely struck their daughter while in the park, causing bruising and headaches that lasted for months. The actor claimed the girl had been acting out and running to attack him, which kids do in these parks. They run.
Sure they do.
They go. My friend was the icy bear.
Okay.
And wore the icy hat. And one time out front of Weigel's, which the icy was that was the big slogan and the big trademark.
Yeah.
Picture. It was like a slush puppy or a slushie.
Yeah.
But he was the icy bear, big bear costume. And they go, they said the cram it bear or something. And he looked and he punched it. He punched the snout and the head turned all the way sideways, and he went to go get the kids, but he couldn't see out of his eye holes anymore, and the kids ran away. So that was his big. He was like, "That was my first.
See out your eye holes.
My first and last day as the icy bear."
I'll punch you so hard you won't be able to see out your own eye holes.
Take this, bear.
Yeah.
So that was tough, but that's what happens. So these kids, they come up and they harass these. They're not just there to hug Donald Duck. Sometimes they're there to punch him. So that's evidently what this guy was claiming in court. These kids were running and to attack me when he accidentally hit her with his ear, is what he said. The actor appeared in court wearing his costume. I guess it was kind of like he's going to show you,
solidarity.
I couldn't have done. Well, no, he's trying to say,
or he's not breaking character.
I think he's trying to say I couldn't have done.
I'm Winnie the Pooh. How could I do this? Yeah. It's not even my character.
Oh, I don't even know what I would. I'm trying to do a Winnie the Pooh. That's pretty good, right? What do you mean? I love children.
Christopher Robin.
Yeah. He was wearing his costume and remaining character while testifying. So he really did, only responding to questions with gestures and dancing. So he didn't talk. He was just like. But this is great. But listen, it worked. It was demonstrated that it would not be possible to do what the family claimed while wearing the costume, and the actor was found not guilty. So his whole big histrionics, it worked.
And in many ways, guys, it was Winnie the Pooh himself who was found not guilty.
Wasn't that?
And in that moment, a disaster was averted and a nation was saved.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? These characters, it sets a precedent that says these characters, when they swing, if the duck tail, when you swing around, if it hits a kid, now it's like, well, the costume is a thing. I was just dancing and I can't help it. Your kid was launched into the lazy river.
I know you're going to get sick of this, but I got to return to something you said.
Okay.
Because do you know the history of ices?
No. Is this going to be history of food?
Yeah.
The food that built
it's
this?
So good. So, new season. So, a guy, I think it was his cooler broke.
Right.
He had Cokes.
Got to be. It's always an emergency.
Right. He had cola or something. So he stuck it in the freezer to try to cool it off faster.
Sure.
It came in. It was partially frozen.
It shattered in his hand.
Starts pouring it into a cup.
Right.
It's like, what is this garbage? You know, and I can't even get. And then he takes some drinks. He's like, oh my gosh, this half frozen Coke thing is unbelievable. So he starts selling it. Names it Icy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Eventually, it becomes a thing, and Icy.
Not Mr. Icy. That's your rap.
That was my rap name. Yeah, from sixth grade. Sixth grade. Yeah.
By the way, I didn't say this when you said.
By eighth grade, I was Dr. Icy.
Now you're Mr. Icy Hot because you're very sore and.
That's right. Oh dear.
Okay.
Anyway,
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. So here's what's crazy.
Yeah.
So this is also the history of 7-Eleven.
Okay.
Which is the first convenience store gas station.
Sure.
Which the convenience store gas stations, do you know what they actually started from? They weren't filling stations.
Okay.
They were ice stores.
Oh, right, the blocks.
Yeah.
Get a block of ice.
And so they needed
chip off of.
As people started buying refrigerators, they needed more business, and so they started also selling gas because they kind of combined the two things, and then figured out, we should put more things on the shelf. Like, you'd be shocked how many things that 7-Eleven innovated, like the
hot dog roller.
I don't know about the hot dog roller, but like, what's the largest cup?
Oh, the big gulp.
Big gulp. A big gulp thing. And then immediately McDonald's started doing biggie sizes and all the stuff. It was all from 7-Eleven.
Right.
Anywho.
And so that's not really contributed to a lot of good things.
No, it hasn't.
We drink a lot of soda.
We do.
I drink a lot of soda.
Right now, yeah. And so literally they wanted to compete, and the Icy salesman came in and was
Mr.
like,
Icy.
They were like, hey, we'd like to sign you exclusively to 7-Eleven. He's like, I'm sorry, I've already licensed it, but basically what I can do is license you the same thing, and you can just call it whatever you want to call it. And that's when the Slurpee was born. The Slurpee and the Icy were the same guy doing the same product.
He double dealt. You know what he was? He was Lou Pearlman, who had NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. Because he was like, I'll create the competitor, and then no matter who the kids choose, I win.
Doesn't matter. He wins.
He died in jail.
Okay.
It didn't work out for Lou Pearlman. He was a crook. He was a bad guy.
Anyway, Icy's.
But Mr. Icy, he did all right for himself. Whatever his name was. We don't have him in This Week in History.
Pretty well. Yeah. So. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, anyway, that was it. That was Winnie the Pooh. He was exonerated.
I did not. Let me tell you something. When we started the show, I did not expect it to end with the words "Winnie the Pooh was exonerated."
Listen. Sometimes
we've gone some great places.
Sometimes the truth wins out. It's good stuff.
Oh, I love it.
You've done the Disney Day, right? Where you have your kid meets the characters and does the Disney princess. Yeah. You did all that.
Oh,
did Sadie enjoy it?
Day. I think memories? I've done weeks.
Yeah.
When she was little, it was the greatest thing.
Disney princess for her, wine package for you.
Everybody wins. You get on over there to the Food and Wine Festival in Epcot.
Sure.
And you just eat around all the nations.
When you have too much wine, that's the sound you make too. Oh, God. That's the sound later of the horrible. You're in 90-degree heat in Orlando.
It was so like at the age that she wasn't questioning whether there's someone in there or not, kind of thing.
She's not punching the icy bear in the face.
We have all the pictures of her hugging. I mean,
that's so sweet.
You go to the breakfast and you're spending so much money.
When she sees old pictures of herself as a little kid, does she get embarrassed because she feels like she was cringy, or is she at the cringy age, or is she like, that was cool?
It depends.
Yeah.
Often she's like, "Oh, I was cute," you know.
But go back to what you're saying. You spent a lot of money. You spent a lot.
Oh,
of money.
For those events, they're not free. You don't
No.
If you want to
add the princess package.
If you want to get the breakfast with this particular set of characters in this part of the park during this, then you got to 6 months in advance get in the queue, buy the tickets, and go so you can go sit and have a Shoney's breakfast.
Is it a Winnie the Pooh queue?
Winnie the Pooh. I would do it all over again. I would do it right now if she would go back.
Yeah.
Now the one thing.
Yeah.
We did, what do they call it? Laura's screaming at the phone right now.
Fast Pass.
Oh, of course it's Fast Pass. We knew all that.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to offend
Sorry.
you.
Wow. Well, Johnny.
Everybody, what are you doing? Waiting in line like an idiot with the hoi polloi, the unwashed masses?
Yeah. This was it was like a salon.
Oh.
And they could go in and they they made them into princesses.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and then you went to a special,
and then you had Sadie do it too.
Dinner, right?
You're like, I feel so
I've
pretty.
never felt prettier in my life. But I remember for some reason there was construction or something, and they sent us over to Disney Springs for this.
Nice.
That was not the best of days. Like, she was in her princess costume. We're up early getting a cab. I think we took a cab to get over there, and then brought her back to the park. And like, if you're walking in those like jelly princess shoes kind of thing,
they don't fit right because you're not Cinderella.
Quickly,
you're not
like,
actually
come on
Cinderella.
Now. They had a prince walking around the park looking for
You're wearing the wrong shoe. Some of y'all out there are wearing the wrong shoe.
Some of y'all need to.
That's why your feet hurt.
The prince.
You need to stand on the promises of. I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, that was a day you were like, okay, this is when the fantasy
pretty good
has its limitations because she's still only 6 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But so
now all your money goes to volleyball.
All of it.
That's okay though.
Well, volleyball and Zero Shine 2.0. So
not a sponsor yet.
Let me tell you something.
Stay tuned, listeners. By the way, if you want to become a loyal listener and follower, John, how would they do such a thing?
I think they go to talkaboutthatpodcast.com.
Over 350 archived episodes for you to listen to. Thanks to our new listeners. We're enjoying so much cultivating this new and growing, burgeoning audience.
Yes, it's a community, really.
Well, at arm's length. Send us an email with random subjects and no body.
Ma'am, please send us back your address, and Jonnie would love to send you a T-shirt.
I would be happy to send you a T-shirt. Just be more specific about what exactly your intentions are.
I'm going to guess this is on us. Listen, ma'am, I want you to tell us what we said.
Yeah.
She's going to be like, look, you said send an email.
Could be. That's what happens.
It's going to be. And you've been sitting here just disparaging her. Ma'am, I've not been doing that.
No.
This has been all Jonnie. It's kind of his shtick, you know.
That's what I do.
So, yeah. It's not personal. It's actually an honor.
I'll issue a retraction next week, but it'll be way at the end of the episode.
Right. You want
during the playoff music.
People stop
That
listening.
should be playing right now, probably. The playoff music has started swelling.
I wonder if people can hear still what we're saying while the playoff music's going.
A little bit. It starts to get a little bit, drowns us out.
Yeah. That's the point. Isn't it, though?
Mm-hmm. It is.
You guys should check out JonnieW.com.
Please do that. New tour dates coming up. April 24th, I am at the Mockingbird Theater in Franklin, Tennessee. That's going to be a great show with my buddy Steve Rogers. He opens for Brian Regan, Tom Papa, and Nate Bargatze on the road. And he's a fantastic comic, has a new special out. And we're co-headlining that show. It's going to be a good one. April 24th, Mockingbird Theater, Franklin, Tennessee. Get tickets now.
I tell you, Johnny's everywhere, man. Johnny just took a trip to Yosemite.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't want to be. We're going to tease something, but because it may go off the rails and it may not even make it onto the show. But we have a pretty cool. We don't normally do interviews. We have an interview planned for next week.
Yeah.
And if it happens, you'll know. If it's just a regular show, you'll know.
Like, well, that didn't work out.
It didn't go well.
Yeah.
But we have like an interview planned that's going to be something that you're going to want to stay tuned for.
I don't like to brag, but we were approached.
Not like Winnie the Pooh, and then we had to like.
They got punched in by an ear.
No,
and
we were slowly and cautiously approached.
Yes,
and then we have agreed to do this interview. And I think it's going to be a blockbuster interview.
Yeah, get ready.
Stay tuned, listeners.
Get ready, guys. Thanks for the time you gave us this week. Let's do it again next week here on
Talk About That.